Welcome back. Well, let's go back now to our top story, which is, of course, that grim news for Arcadia Group and Debenhams as they reach the end of the line. Well, of course, it's not just Arcadia and its staff and those of Debenhams that will be affected, but a much wider ecosystem of suppliers across the UK and further afield. Well, I'm joined now by Flemming Bengtsen. He is Chief Executive of the invoice insurance provider Nimbler. Flemming, good morning to you. You've said, I think, that some £250 million worth of supplier invoices could go unpaid. Give me an idea of the kind of people who are going to lose out here, please.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think there's probably around 300 suppliers that will be affected by this. They're going to be a mix of UK and overseas. The ones we're really worried about are the smaller ones. So it's a very big number, of course, but it's the £20,000, the £50,000 invoices to smaller suppliers, cleaning services, small fashion outlets and wholesalers that we're really concerned about, because this could actually tip them into insolvency themselves.
Well, exactly so. And they, of course, themselves will have suppliers.
Absolutely. I mean, the real danger here is a domino effect that we'll see, one knocking the next one down the line over. And, what the position that we're in right now is that these smaller businesses are being more vulnerable, quite frankly. They have had this sort of much needed in cash injection via C bills and B bills and schemes such as the furlough scheme that have kept them alive, but they are really, really vulnerable to shocks such as these.
Now, in a situation like this, when creditors are scrambling to shore up their position, obviously in the case of Arcadia, we know that Sir Philip Green's wife, Lady Tina, is one of the main secured creditors. Then you have a list of unsecured creditors like HMRC, the pension scheme. Realistically, how easy is it for creditors to recoup what they're owed here?
Well, I think they have to resign themselves to the fact that they're not going to get anything, if I'm perfectly honest. Unsecured creditors generally get pennies in the pound, if anything at all. Last time Philip Green defaulted with BHS, he left £1 billion worth of invoices. They got a 3.6p dividend. It's also the timing, because they need that money right now. That will take a long time to work through the system, and that cash won't be forthcoming for a very long time, if indeed there is any at all.
All right, Flemming, sorry, I must pick you up there. BHS collapsed under Dominic Chappelle. It wasn't under Philip Green. But, of course, we have trade credit insurance, which protects the position of creditors. What proportion of the money that they are owed do you think is likely to be covered by trade credit insurance?
Sadly, this has been a slow-moving train wreck, really. So the credit insurers will have sort of long distanced themselves from a lot of these debts. There'll be a lot of older debts that would still be covered, but unfortunately, there won't be a particularly large amount that will be covered under trade credit insurance. But at the moment, one of the least known schemes the government's put out, which is the trade credit reinsurance scheme, is able to do just that. They're able to sort of allow that cover is put on where otherwise appetite would have been taken away by the market.
Really interesting point you make then. It obviously spells the death. I remember that with Woolies in 2008, of course, when the suppliers couldn't get trade credit insurance, they stopped supplying them. Absolutely.
It's the way that a lot of these companies, get their working capital, and they will stretch their suppliers as much as they can towards the end. And obviously, insurers aren't daft. They know that that the writing's on the wall. They do everything they can to support them, but there comes a point when it's absolutely it's pointless, and you've got to let them go.
All right, Flemming Bengtsen, complicated subject, but you talked me through it very neatly there. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.